Hey there crew, it's Mark, and in today's video we're talking about the 8 things that I've learned over the past 8 years of bullet journaling. It's kind of insane to think that I've been bullet journaling for 8 years, but it's one of the things in my life that I've actually stuck with this long. It's kind of incredible. I've loved trying out different notebooks and pens and methods, and today I'm going to share with you all of my favorite things that I've learned over these past few years. The first thing that I've learned in bullet journaling is that you need to learn the rules of bullet journaling before you can break them. And it's absolutely fine to break the rules of bullet journaling, but I have found that you appreciate the method so much more when you fully understand it. Now, there are a few ways that you can learn about the method. You can read the book, the actual bullet journal method book that goes through all of the details. In the back of the bullet journal edition 2s, they've actually started to include a resource manual that also gives you an overview. And if you want to learn about bullet journaling itself and even more, there is a bullet journal and beyond course that bulletjournal.com offers for you. I'll put the links for all those items down in the descriptions below, but those are great resources to use to learn about the method, how it works, and then how you can use it for yourself. Then when you fully understand it and you embrace it, I usually tell people to use the method, kind of buy the book literally for at least 2 to 3 months. And that way you really get a good feel. Then start to experiment a little bit about what you like, what you don't like, what you need to alter a little bit, and you're gonna find that your bullet journal experience is a lot more enjoyable. Tip number 2 is that you don't have to use fancy pens if you don't want to, and honestly, you don't need them. For me personally, I love using fountain pens and dip pens and other cool pens in my bullet journal because I enjoy the experience. Now, if you're checking out people here on YouTube or over on Instagram and you see them using fancy fountain pens and all of that, it's probably because they like them. But here are my 3 favorite pens that I like to use anytime that I'm not using a fountain pen. The first one on the list is the Uniball Signo DX. I personally love this in the 0.38mm. This has a wonderful fine tip to it. It writes really nicely, and I've never ever had an issue with this one, skipping or flow issues or anything else with writing with it. I love the way my handwriting looks. I actually have used this for even creating lines and spreads and layouts because the tip of it is so nice and fine. You can get those really fine details without having to worry about it kind of blowing out the page or writing bigger than you actually need to. My second favorite pen is my other go-to. This is the Sarasa Mark-On pen. I love this for a few reasons. First, same as the first Uniball one that we talked about. Never had flow issues with this one. I always love the way that it writes. It is a little bit thicker at 0.5mm. Not a huge difference, but enough that you can see a visual difference. The other thing I love about this is that it's actually designed to work along with mild liners from Zebra. So with some other pens, if you write with your pen and then highlight over top of it with a mild liner, you get this ugly streakiness that can happen with it because it's just not drying fast enough. The Sarasa Mark-On has quick dry ink in it, so right when you write with it, you can come right back over top of it with a mild liner and have no issues whatsoever. And my third favorite pen is actually a new one that I just randomly found at home, and I absolutely love writing with it. It's the Pentel Energel, but it has a needle tip but a 0.7mm ball. It's one of these like weird hybrids where you love a really nice fine point, but also it writes so nice. I haven't used this one for very long. Like I said, this is a little bit new to me, but I love writing with it. Again, no issues with ink flow or anything just yet. It looks pretty cool and just a great easy pen to use. Now, if you're the type of person that has been using the basic pens and you want to explore a little bit, there are some really cool pens out there that you can dabble inside of and have a lot of fun. I'm going to share with you 3 of my favorite pens to make that little bit of an upgrade for yourself. The first one I want to share with you is the Tom Studio Lumos Duo. What's cool about this pen is that it actually takes fountain pen ink inside of here, but you have all of these different types of nibs that you can attach. And then what's so cool about it is that you can unscrew it and reveal another tip. So if you're the type of person that likes to work with thin and a little bit thicker, you can fill this pen up with those 2 colors and those 2 nibs and just be ready to go. The next pens are the Baron Fig Squire pens. These are some of my favorite pens that I like to collect because Baron Fig just makes a great product. I love the way that these write. They're very inky, so you do have to be just a little bit careful with certain types of paper. Always pen test in the back of your notebooks, but these work really great and they come in so many different styles. Whether you're looking for something very minimalistic, one of my favorites is this brass milled one from them. It's absolutely stunning and beautiful, and as you can see, they have so many different limited edition ones that you can collect and of course write with them because they're just fun pens to write with. The third pen is when you creep into the fountain pens just a little bit. This is from Lamy, and you can get this in a few different ways. I have the All-Star here, which is a nice metal, but they also have the Safari. What I love about the Lamy pens so much is that they are super easy to use. There's kind of no guesswork behind it. All you have to do is open it up. It either comes with a cartridge that you can already fill, you just pop that into the back and start writing, or if you want, many of them come with a converter. What the converter allows you to do is fill up your pen with fountain pen ink, and when it runs out, you just clean it out and then you can fill it again. A lot of them have the hand placement grooves kind of already built into the handle here, which just makes it easy to hold and easy to use. The other thing that I've learned in my 8 years of bullet journaling is that over time, to reignite your fire for bullet journaling is sometimes including some of your other favorite stationery inside of your bullet journal. Those could be having different types of stickers that I put inside of my headers or use throughout my page. I also love using stamps inside of my bullet journal, whether it's to set up an overall look of a page or just to include it for a little bit of fun. There are so many different ways to express your personality inside of your bullet journal, and because you're spending your time there, you might as well enjoy yourself. Over the years, I've also found things like these rub-on transfers that you can use that are nice and easy and add a really cool look to your bullet journal without having to do too much work. You can find a lot of these supplies in the bullet journal and stationery items in your favorite craft stores. I even found some really great things at the dollar store that I can use in my bullet journal. It just makes bullet journaling that much more fun, and you really get to control how much you put inside of your bullet journal and what best represents you. The other thing that I've learned about bullet journaling over the past 8 years is that it's fun and you should experiment with your layouts. As I mentioned, when you first get started in your bullet journal, I think the best thing to do is really follow that method and make sure that you understand the basics before you start to branch out. Now, I personally have really fallen in love with weekly spreads over the years for a few reasons. I'll say the first is that it's just how I like to work inside of my bullet journal. Because I'm using my bullet journal at my full-time job, I like to see a weekly overview. I like to have a place for notes and tasks, and it's all just encapsulated inside of that one page. I also like it because it's very flexible. I have so many different layouts that I've tried over the years and that I've reflected on and said, well, did this one work out for me? Maybe not. Let's change this next time. It also keeps me really engaged in my bullet journal. For me personally, it's always been a goal to explore different types of grids and layouts and finding new ways to use my bullet journal that is both functional and creative and fun, which again, just makes me want to use it even more. The next thing that I've learned about 8 years of bullet journaling is that you really have to focus your bullet journal on you. Yes, there is a ton of inspiration on the internet, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. We've seen all these beautiful spreads all over the place with very intricate designs. Some of my favorites, like these here, are just absolutely mind-blowing to think that anyone is creating these, and I don't mean that from a negative space. Like, they are art, honestly. But just because someone else does that does not mean that you have to do it as well. If you want to spend the extra time in your bullet journal to create these pieces, you absolutely should, but at no point should you ever feel that you have to keep a bullet journal. Early on, I tried to follow some of these trends myself, and I found that those were those spreads that were least successful for me. But when I started to understand what worked for me, how I'd like to set up my bullet journal, honestly, almost every single week has the same structure, which excites me to use my bullet journal more, like I mentioned previously, but challenges me to find new and innovative ways to use my bullet journal to best meet the goals of what I want to do inside of my journal. The next thing that I learned about bullet journaling over these past 8 years is that not everything needs to go inside of your index. I am a big believer in the index. I think it's there for a reason. I call it the brain of the operation. It's because when you're using your index, you can easily find the things in your notebook that you're looking for. So often notes and tasks and projects can get lost and you spend time flipping through them trying to find them. Early on when I was using the index, I put every single page into my index. So much so that I ran out of space and had to create more index pages for myself. Then over time, I started to realize that I didn't need to capture all of that. I only needed to capture the important things that I wanted to find and reference again in the future. So my index over the years has absolutely changed from being 100% filled to using it less and less and really capturing just the things that are most important to me and things that I need to find again. I've learned a lot about bullet journaling over the past 8 years, so the last tip here that I'm going to share with you definitely is not the last of the things that I've learned, but 8 years, 8 things, it just made sense. And this is that you should experiment with different productivity techniques inside of your bullet journal. The bullet journal is very nice. I love it. It does exactly what I need, but sometimes it doesn't do everything, and it's not necessarily meant to be. So there are some other productivity things that I've actually brought into my bullet journal that have been really helpful for me. The first would be the Eisenhower method. This is a really nice and easy method that you can set up just by gridding out your pages, drawing a line down the center of your horizontal and your vertical, and then you go ahead and you plot out things from being most important to least important. And you go around and you jot things down inside of here of things you need to do or notes that you have to really help you figure out what is most important, what is important but maybe I don't need to do right away, all the way down to I need to either get rid of this or delegate it to somebody else. Using my bullet journal for work, this is a go-to method that I use a lot because there's just times where things get so overwhelming and the bullet journal list and notes just isn't it. So I create an Eisenhower collection page for myself, figure it out, and then move forward with the decisions based off of how I use that. The other method that I really like to use is the Ivy Lee method. This is a super nice and easy method that has been a go-to for years for me to help me focus in on what's most important. You could even partner this along with the Eisenhower method if you want. The way that the Ivy Lee method is that you're going to go ahead and plan for tomorrow right now. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a page and you're going to write down the 6 most important things that you want to accomplish that day. And then when you start your new day, you're going to go ahead and accomplish each of those things in the order in which you put them. You're not going to skip because you place them in priority order and you're going to follow through. Then at the end of your day, anything that you haven't accomplished or new things that have come into your day that need to be taken care of, you're going to go ahead and do the same thing for tomorrow. Plan out the 6 most important things tomorrow, and then when you go to work, accomplish those together. This has been really helpful for me, and I know a number of other bullet journals that actually use this as their daily log for themselves. It gives them that nice priority list with a ton of space for additional notes and tasks. So those are my 8 things that I've learned about bullet journaling over the past 8 years, but I want to hear from you. Let me know some of your best tips and tricks that you've learned and that you use inside of your bullet journal down in the comment section below. If you're new to bullet journaling or struggling a little bit in the new year about how to stay consistent, be sure to check out this video here where I share my tips on ways to stay consistent inside of your bullet journal. I'll talk to you next time, friends. See ya.